valued virally. It's all there. Wristbands, citizen rule books in every order. Order online at Infowars.com today. The water filters, the canteens. It's all there. Infowars.com.
We are back from break, and I just want to remind you that we rely on subscriber support. Please consider supporting the Infowars Nightly News at prisonplanet.tv. Now, we just spoke with Tony Casso, who got the fluoride removed from Pinellas County, and of course, one of the main selling points was the budget cost that it takes to put fluoride in the water. We have back with us Laura Presley, PhD. She was on 2 weeks ago talking about the move here in Austin to get fluoride removed, and that is ongoing now. Thanks for joining us again, Laura.
Thanks for having us again, Aaron. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, I know some of the updates. They've been removing fluoride all across the country and across the Western world. There's parts of New Zealand that just recently removed the water from their area, and
yeah, so New Zealand is a place that Dr. Paul Connett, which you guys have had multiple times here on Infowars, he works directly with them, and I'm sure he is incredibly happy about this news, so we're all happy about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the trend really is turning, and there's been a number of political groups that have come forward, too, who are now against fluoride. Let's talk about some of those groups.
Yes, one of the biggest ones is LULAC, the League of United Latin American Citizens, and this is a national organization and a national resolution that they passed. And what's phenomenal about this is they called a spade, and they said fluoridation is mass medication, and that they do not approve of this. And they actually demanded to know why cities want to protect the policy of fluoridation over and above protecting the health of their citizens, of their counties and their cities. And so they were very blunt and did not mince words, and it was a very strong resolution against fluoridation. The American Dental Association has come out and put a lot of pressure on LULAC. And initially they took off the resolution from their website. It was about a week, while a lot of discussions were being had with the American Dental Association and LULAC leadership. And so the resolution is back up now. And they said, we are not going to rescind this resolution, even under the incredible pressure the American Dental Association put on them.
Yeah, that's very positive.
Yeah, it was. We were very happy.
Minority organizations, there's so many people concentrated in cities, and it costs a lot of money to get out from under the whole paradigm of water fluoridation. You have to research and then spend a lot of money to extract yourself from that.
Yes, and the CDC in 2002 came out with a study and documented that African Americans and Hispanics actually are affected by fluoridation, by fluorosis, 2 to 3x higher than Caucasians. So that is one of the reasons LULAC made this step. They know that their people are being affected disproportionately on the negative side, and they did reference that in the resolution, and we are very very proud of them.
We've also had political people such as Ralph Nader on the left and Ron Paul on the GOP side of things, also speaking out against fluoride.
Absolutely, Dr. Ron Paul and Ralph Nader. And then also in Atlanta, there's been a lot of pressure in Georgia. Martin Luther King's family, his sister Bernice, and other members of his family, and Andrew Young, who was the mayor of Atlanta, have come out against fluoridation, again, because it affects African Americans disproportionately on the negative side. Yeah. And you know, we're very impressed and proud at their bravery and their courage for coming out and speaking against this.
Yeah, those are all positive signs. Of course, we know so much about all the negative effects that are associated with fluoride. There's been lawsuits about the fluoridation, the fluorosis rather. And but the real reason we have you here is to talk about some of the steps of how to fight it in your area, wherever that area might be. Right. So let's cover some of that.
Okay. We have the way we've approached it with Fluoride-Free Austin, initially we approached it with the scientific data. You have to have the science behind you whenever you want to make a change. And so we presented to our city council and about the dental mechanism that fluoride really just works topically on the teeth. And then also the negative health effects of dental fluorosis, that's 40% in teenagers right now, hypothyroidism, bone disease in children, ADHD and ADD increases, and IQ reductions in children. And basically, the bottom line is, because there's no dose control for this chemical, there's no dose control for age, weight, size, and sensitivity, you have all of those effects that I just mentioned above. The dental fluorosis, the hypothyroidism, all of those are a consequence because people are more sensitive than others. And so that is that's the scientific data that everybody needs to be aware of. And that is, all of this information has come out in the last probably 10 years. And so in Austin, that scientific information has not allowed the city council to make a move and get rid of fluoride. So we have gone now to step 2. We're putting a lot of political pressure on the council, and these are steps that anybody across the country, across the world can take. We started writing letters to council members and the mayor. We've requested public hearings. We've had multiple public hearings. We just build support when doctors and scientists and dentists, come and say this is an incredible health danger to people. So that is where we are in Austin right now. We are looking at the political pressure on the council. And then the last thing that some cities have done, last resort, is a lawsuit. And, of course, that's on the table for anybody, any county or city that wants to pursue that. There are a lot of legal, claims that are made and that are valid. This fluoride is not a drug by the FDA. It is... there's no informed consent, okay? And it's deceptive trade practice because it's not considered a drug. So those are the legal approaches that have happened. And the last thing that we want to do in Austin, and I would recommend this, and Dr. Conant also says this as he gives us advice, that as a public referendum is one of the last things, or the thing you do not want to do. Because what happens is the American Dental Association comes out and puts a lot of money into misinformation and disinformation about fluoride and fluoridation. And so it really overwhelms any kind of grassroots effort. It's very difficult for citizens to raise, $50,000, $100,000 in a public ad campaign that the ADA can come in and do automatically. So that's the last thing we want to do.
And, of course, that's one of the major barriers to lawsuits, too, because there's no other reason to wait on lawsuits. It affects everyone.
That's right.
Mass medication. Can we talk about some of the high-profile lawsuits that have been going on? You mentioned Florida, Maryland, and California.
Yes, the Florida lawsuit's a personal injury lawsuit. There's a woman who is suing the state. I'm not sure what city she's in. Suing for her daughter who has severe fluorosis. And apparently when the child was very young, she just gave her 90% of her diet was fluoridated water because she was trusting what the government was telling her, what the CDC was telling her, what dentists were telling her. And so the daughter now has severe fluorosis. She's a teenager, and it will cost about $100,000 to repair all the damage of her teeth, and they cannot bear that burden. So she is suing the state of Maryland. The second lawsuit is a really big one, and one that we are watching very carefully. It's in Southern California, the Southern California Water District that services Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, San Diego. And they are suing, as we just talked about, for deceptive trade practice because this fluoride is not a drug. It's being claimed it's a drug used for prevent a dental disease. It's being used as a drug even though it's not. And there's no informed consent, and they're really claiming unconstitutional constitutional violations of the people. And so we're watching that very carefully because that's a very large water district, and so we hope they're successful. We're pretty confident they will be.
Yeah, of course, it strikes right at the nerve of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness.
Absolutely. So. It's right up there.
Yeah. So here locally, there's a big meeting coming up this Tuesday. That's October 18th, correct?
Yes, October 18th, Tuesday at 3 o'clock p.m. There's Austin City Council Public Health and Human Services Subcommittee meeting, and we want people to be there at 2:30 to sign up to speak. Fluoride Free Austin has a number of people, doctors, dentists, acupuncturists, scientists, and chiropractors, and citizens, mothers, families that are going to be speaking, and to try to influence and push hard the Public Health and Human Services Committee to put a warning on our water bill about fluoridation. And we have specific wording. The wording that we've chosen is very, what I would call middle-of-the-ground wording. It is actually language directly from the CDC, language directly from the material safety data sheet of the supplier of the chemical that Austin uses, and direct wording from Austin City Council's own website about fluoride. So we are not making anything up. This is a very middle ground, basic warning that we want on the water bill.
Yeah, of course, it's important for individuals to get informed and educate others about all these dangers, but there's been so many government agencies who've had to admit those dangers, and still we have stuff like cities that won't remove it. We have here an interesting piece of propaganda. Everyone needs fluoride.
Yes, and there is almost zero fluoride in mother's milk, so I guess babies are not included in this.
Why are so many of these dental groups so committed to the fluoride issue? What's behind that?
You know, that's a very good question, and it's a hard question. There's a lot of theories. You know, Dr. Connett says that fluoridation is kind of one of the holy grails of the CDC. If they back off of fluoridation, they will lose a lot of credibility and lose a lot of face with the public. And, you know, what's next on the agenda for being critical of, it's vaccinations for the CDC. So I think, and this is Dr. Connett's theory, I think it makes a lot of sense that they're protecting fluoridation, ultimately trying to protect their credibility and vaccination, the policy of vaccination. So that's one of the theories that's out there.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's horrible. And, you know, also I think there's so much new information, new scientific information that's come out in the last 10 years. These dentists need to go look at the information and get educated. There was one of our Fluoride-Free Austin members that she was at a party with Mayor Lee Leffingwell of Austin. And he says, oh, you know, I want to keep fluoride in our water. My dentist says it's okay. And her comment to him was, your dentist needs to be educated.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's the truth. These dentists who do not understand the chemistry of fluoride, who don't understand and have not looked at the recent information and data that's out there in peer-reviewed journals, they need to get up to speed and start communicating to their patients what the truth is.
Yeah. So, of course, we want to look at the strategies that worked. And, again, we just spoke with Tony Casso from Pinellas County in Florida. And, again, the way he finally sold City Council on removing fluoride was the budgetary issue. How much do they spend here in Austin, and what's kind of the average cost for major cities?
Yeah, so Austin depends on the population because it's a volume kind of extrapolation. Austin spends $500,000 to $800,000 a year on fluoride for 700,000 people. So maybe it's $1 per person, something like that. It's probably less than that. But I think College Station also, population of 100,000 people, they initially wanted fluoride out of their water supply based on budgetary issues. It got put back on the agenda because of concerns from dentists, and there was a lot of debate and conversation about what to do with the fluoride in College Station. The council members themselves went and did their research and said, oh, there's too many health issues. Let's continue this and keep it out.
Yeah, but of course, when they're cutting budgets, they're cutting jobs, people's benefits. We don't need fluoride to be a sacred cow when all they have to do is turn off the tap.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, so tell us about your website, and thanks for joining us.
Sure. fluoridefreeaustin.com. And there's a lot of information on there that other cities or counties that want information on the health benefits and of removing fluoride. And we've got a lot of information there. Dr. Paul Connett's book, The Case Against Fluoride, is a phenomenal resource. And so our website, fluoridefreeaustin.com, and Dr. Connett's book will prepare anybody to tackle their city council.
Great.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
And everyone get active out there. That's it for the Infowars Nightly News. Again, we rely on your subscriber support, so please help us out. Please help us to grow this broadcast and educate people on so many different issues. We'll be back next Monday. Thank you. Good night.